I've always drawn and painted and made things. We didn't have television when I was a kid, so that was what we were kind of always encouraged to do with, egg cartons and toilet rolls. We actually had this big roll of paper that my dad would just roll out, and that was like the most exciting thing to my brother and I, and we'd just go to town with different, adventures and, little, racing tracks for our cars or cities for the Lego blocks. We kind of entertained ourselves for hours with that. Who needed television? I did art at school, through high school, and I went to a pretty conservative school, so it was discouraged as a career. And I went off and did psychology for a year and a science degree, and I just didn't like it and put a folio together and applied for RMIT. And then I did a trip to Central Australia at the McDonnell Ranges, and I was really struck with the sedimentary layers of rock, and that's really kind of how it evolved, and it's had quite a few incarnations over the last 10 years to get the technique right and the materials right, and this to work with that, and it all to be a solid object. It was really seeing in that paint the potential for that to mimic things in the natural world. And I also kind of really liked, watching as the paint dried, that it could look like an avalanche or a landslide or the movement of little amoeba in a Petri dish. That kind of really developed and informed more of the content of the work as it continued. A few years ago I did a residency in Iceland, and that landscape there really informed my work for a very long time, and I feel like it's still kind of filtering through at the moment, but now I'm moving back into more a psychological space with my work. The last work I did for London was kind of like dreamscapes. I feel like I'm always drawn to what you might call a very primal landscape. Iceland is new land, it's being formed, so it could be what the Earth looked like millions and millions of years ago. I work in bodies of work. So if you look at all my exhibitions, each of them has an idea or a theme I'm exploring. My show for Hong Kong last year, it was all on different words for valleys, dales, and whatever. So there was kind of a concurrent thing going on. And then the other one I did for Healy was based on this mission to Mars that they want to do. So it was this imagined, because they want to seed the atmosphere of Mars so that in 10,000 years it's habitable by big populations of humans. And so I imagined this landscape there. So I'm always kind of, there's always a story and a theme with each exhibition and body of work. The other aspect is my work engaging with climate change or pollution or this kind of thing. And I think, there is a certain amount of a deliberate kind of toxicity or something pushing it within my work. But ultimately, I'm thinking about more ideas of connectedness. When we're in nature, we're connected in a way that is intrinsic to being a human being. They can stop the temperature rising by injecting clouds of sulfur into the air, but then you'll never see a blue sky again. Now, does it matter that we'll ever see a blue sky again? It's, humanity will survive, but in what way? And how important is that everyday connection with nature, with wilderness, to know it's there for our own sense of wholeness?